The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and broken promises. Jin-woo Park pressed his forehead against the cold glass window, staring at the woman lying motionless in the bed behind him. 18 years. He had waited 18 years to see Cynthia Johnson again, and this was how fate decided to reunite them. Her chest rose and fell with mechanical precision, the ventilator doing the breathing she couldn't do herself. Her dark skin looked ashy under the fluorescent lights. Her hair, which used to bounce in wild curls when she laughed, was braided tightly against her scalp. Someone had been taking care of her. Someone who loved her. Jin-woo's hands shook as he pulled out the small box from his jacket pocket. Inside was a bracelet he had bought 18 years ago in Dubai, at a small shop in the Gold Souk. He never gave it to her. Never got the chance. 6 months, the doctor had said. She's been like this for 6 months. Car accident, traumatic brain injury. She can hear you, we think. Talk to her. Read to her. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe wasn't good enough. But it was all Jin-woo had. He walked to her bedside and sat down in the chair that had permanent indentations from someone else's body. Her mother, probably. Or her father, the man who had destroyed everything 18 years ago. Cynthia, Jin-woo whispered in Korean, then switched to English. I'm here, I came back, just like I promised. Her eyelids didn't flutter, her fingers didn't twitch, nothing. Jin-woo pulled out his phone and opened the Notes app. He had written everything down, every memory, every moment, every reason he had spent 18 years becoming someone worthy of her. Let me tell you a story, he said softly, about 2 stupid kids who fell in love in Dubai, about a boy who made a promise, and about how he's going to keep it, even if you can't hear him. If you're just finding this story, hit that subscribe button right now because you're about to hear the most heartbreaking love story you've ever witnessed. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and let me know if you believe in promises that last 18 years. Now let's go back to where it all started. Dubai, 2006. The international school bus was packed with teenagers from every country imaginable. Jin-woo sat in the back, earbuds in, trying to ignore the chaos around him. He was 16 years old, newly arrived from Seoul, and he hated everything about Dubai. The heat, the sand, the fact that his father had dragged their family here for some business venture that Jin-woo didn't understand or care about. Then Cynthia Johnson got on the bus. She wore the same ugly uniform as everyone else, but somehow she made it look like fashion. Her backpack had pins from different countries. Her sneakers were covered in doodles and signatures. She walked down the aisle like she owned the bus, high-fiving people, laughing loud enough that Jin-woo could hear her over his music. She sat down next to him, without asking. "You're new," she said. It wasn't a question. Jin-woo pulled out one earbud. "Yes." "Korean?" "Yes." "Cool. I'm Cynthia. American. But I've lived here for 5 years. My dad works in oil." She stuck out her hand. Jin-woo stared at it. In Korea, teenagers didn't shake hands. But this wasn't Korea. He shook her hand. "Jin-woo! Jin-woo!" she repeated, massacring the pronunciation. "Did I say that right?" "No," she laughed. "Teach me then." He did, for the entire 30-minute bus ride to school. He taught her how to say his name properly. She taught him that in Dubai, people didn't care where you came from as long as you were interesting. And Cynthia Johnson found everyone interesting. By the end of the week, they were inseparable. Cynthia showed him Dubai, not the fancy parts his father took business clients to. The real Dubai. The spice markets in Dera where Pakistani men sold cardamom and saffron. The shawarma stands where Egyptian workers ate lunch. The creek where Abra boats carried people across the water for 1 dirham. The hidden beaches where teenagers gathered after sunset to talk about everything their parents didn't understand. Jin-woo showed Cynthia Korea. Through music, through food his mother made, through stories about Seoul that made her eyes light up with wonder. She wanted to know everything. What did Korean teenagers do for fun? What did the Han River look like at night? Was K-pop really that popular? Yes, Jin-woo laughed. It's everywhere. Play me something. He pulled up a song on his phone. Rain was singing some ballad about lost love. Cynthia closed her eyes and listened to the whole thing, even though she couldn't understand a word. That's beautiful, she said when it ended. What's it about? Waiting for someone, Jin-woo translated. Promising to wait even if it takes forever. That's stupid, Cynthia said, but she was smiling. Why would you wait forever? Life is short. If you love someone, you should just be with them. What if you can't? Then you weren't meant to be. Jin-woo wanted to argue, but he didn't. Not then. He didn't know that in 6 months he would understand exactly what that song meant. They fell in love the way teenagers do, completely, recklessly, without thinking about consequences. It started with group hangouts, 10 kids from school, going to the movies at Mall of the Emirates, sitting in the food court at Dubai Mall watching the fountain show, taking the metro to Global Village where you could eat food from 50 countries in one night. But somehow, Jin-woo and Cynthia always ended up sitting next to each other, walking next to each other. Their hands would brush and neither would pull away. Their eyes would meet across crowded rooms and time would stop. The first time Jin-woo kissed Cynthia was at Kite Beach. They had gone with friends, but everyone had scattered. Jin-woo and Cynthia sat on the sand, watching the sun set over the Persian Gulf. The sky turned orange and pink and purple, all at once. Your country doesn't have sunsets like this, Cynthia said. We have sunsets, but not like this. She was right. Nothing in Korea was like this, like her. Cynthia turned to look at him. What are you thinking about? You. She blinked. That's forward. I'm Korean. We don't usually say what we feel, but you make me want to. What do you feel? Everything. Jin-woo leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. She met him halfway. The kiss tasted like salt air and mango juice, and the future. When they broke apart, Cynthia was grinning. Took you long enough, she said. Sorry, don't apologize, just do it again. He did. For 3 months they existed in a perfect bubble. Secret kisses between classes. Holding hands under tables at coffee shops. Late-night phone calls that lasted until sunrise. Jin-woo taught Cynthia basic Korean. She taught him how to dance bachata. They made plans, foolish, beautiful plans about what would happen when they graduated. Maybe they would go to university together. Maybe in America. Maybe in Korea. Maybe somewhere new entirely. We could go to London, Cynthia said one night. They were lying on her apartment rooftop, staring at the Dubai skyline. I've always wanted to live in London. Why London? Because it rains there. I'm tired of the desert. Korea has rain. Then maybe Korea. She turned to look at him. Would your parents accept me? A black American girl dating their precious son. Jin-woo's stomach twisted. He had been avoiding thinking about his parents. My father is traditional. My mother is worse. But I don't care what they think. You say that now. I mean it, Cynthia. When I'm 18, I'll be an adult. I can make my own choices. 18 is still 2 years away. Then we wait 2 years. I'll wait for you. You keep saying that. Cynthia sat up. Why are you so obsessed with waiting? Because some things are worth waiting for. She kissed him then, hard and desperate, like she was trying to prove something, or maybe she was trying to memorize him, like she knew what was coming. 3 weeks later, Jin-woo's father found out. Jin-woo came home from school to find both his parents sitting in the living room of their Dubai apartment. His mother was crying. His father's face was stone. Sit down, his father said in Korean. Jin-woo sat. His heart was already racing. He knew. Somehow he knew. Is it true? his father asked. Are you dating a black girl? The way he said black made Jin-woo's blood boil. Her name is Cynthia. I don't care what her name is. His father stood up. Do you have any idea what this could do to our family? To my business? To our reputation? What reputation? Jin-woo shot back. We live in Dubai. Nobody here cares. Everyone cares, his mother said softly, wiping her eyes. The Korean community here talks. They've been talking. People have seen you with her, holding hands, kissing in public. Do you know how humiliating this is? Humiliating. Jin-woo stood up too. I love her. You're 16 years old, his father shouted. You don't know what love is. This is a phase, a rebellion, and it ends now. No! His father's hand moved so fast, Jin-woo didn't see it coming. The slap echoed in the quiet apartment. His mother gasped, but didn't intervene. You will end this relationship, his father said coldly. Or I will end it for you. What does that mean? It means I will destroy her family. His father's eyes were ice. Her father works for one of my business partners. One phone call and he loses his job. One phone call and her family gets deported back to America with nothing. Is that what you want? Jin-woo felt the world tilting. You wouldn't. Try me. That night, Jin-woo climbed out of his bedroom window and took a taxi to Cynthia's apartment. She was waiting on the roof, their spot. She knew something was wrong the moment she saw his face. What happened? She touched the red mark on his cheek where his father had hit him. Jin-woo told her everything. His father's threats, the ultimatum, the choice that wasn't really a choice. Cynthia listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. The Dubai skyline glittered behind her like a million broken promises. So, what do we do? She asked finally. I don't know. Jin-woo wanted to scream. He wanted to cry. He wanted to grab Cynthia and run away to some place where nobody could find them. But he was 16. He had no money, no power, no way to protect her. Maybe your dad is right, Cynthia said softly. Maybe we should end this. Don't say that. Jin-woo, I'm not going to let your father ruin my family because of me. My dad just got promoted. My mom finally likes it here. My little sister is happy in school. I can't destroy all of that. So what? We just give up. We wait. She took his hands. You said it yourself. When you're 18, you'll be an adult. You can make your own choices. So, we wait 2 years, maybe 3, maybe longer. However long it takes for you to be free. That's not fair to you. Life isn't fair, Jin-woo. But love is patient. Isn't that what that Korean song said? The one by Rain. Love is patient, Jin-woo whispered. But this is different. Why? Because I don't want to wait. I want to be with you now. Then you're selfish. Cynthia's eyes filled with tears. Because right now being together means destroying my family. Is that what love is supposed to do? Jin-woo had no answer. They sat on that roof until sunrise, holding each other, memorizing the way their bodies fit together. As the sun came up over the Persian Gulf, Cynthia made Jin-woo promise something. Promise me you'll wait, she said. Not 2 years, not 3. Wait until you're 34. Why 34? Because that's when my dad says people's brains are fully developed. That's when you know who you really are. That's when you can make real choices, not just emotional ones. That's 18 years away, Cynthia. I know. She cupped his face. So if you still love me in 18 years, if you still remember me, if you still want this, come find me. Come to Atlanta. That's where we're from. That's where I'll be. Find me when you're 34 and we'll see if this was real or just a teenage dream. And if it's real, then we'll have our whole lives together. And if it's not, then we saved each other a lot of pain. Jin-woo pulled her close. I'll wait 18 years. I'll wait forever if I have to. Don't wait forever, Cynthia laughed through her tears. Just wait until you're 34. Promise me, Jin-woo Park. 18 years, not a day sooner, I promise. They kissed as the sun rose. It tasted like goodbye. The next week, Jin-woo's family moved back to Seoul. His father's business deal in Dubai fell through. Or maybe his father made it fall through. Jin-woo never knew for sure. What he did know was that his father made sure there was no way for Jin-woo to contact Cynthia. New phone number, blocked social media. His parents watched him like hawks for months, making sure he didn't try to reach out. But Jin-woo kept his promise. He didn't try to contact her. Because Cynthia was right. Any contact would just make things harder, would put her family at risk. So he waited. 18 years felt like forever when you were 16. But Jin-woo filled those years with purpose. He went to university in Seoul and studied business. Not because he wanted to, but because he needed to understand how his father's world worked. Needed to understand power so he could one day have enough of it to protect what he loved. At 22, Jin-woo started his first company, a small tech startup that made language learning apps. It failed within a year. He learned from his mistakes and started another one. That one failed too. His father mocked him, told him to give up and join the family business. But Jin-woo refused, because joining his father's company meant becoming like his father. And Jin-woo would rather die. At 26, his third company succeeded, an app that connected Korean tutors with international students. It wasn't revolutionary, but it worked. He sold it for enough money to start something bigger. At 30, Jin-woo launched a company that provided job placement services for international workers in Korea. It exploded. Within 2 years, his company was helping thousands of people find work, find homes, find lives in a country that wasn't always welcoming to outsiders. The irony wasn't lost on him. He was helping foreigners build lives in Korea, while the woman he loved was probably living her life in America. Maybe married, maybe with kids, maybe not even thinking about him anymore. But Jin-woo never stopped thinking about her. Every decision he made, every company he built, every wall he knocked down, it was all for one purpose. To become someone worthy of Cynthia Johnson. To become someone strong enough that no father, no society, no tradition could ever separate them again. At 33, Jin-woo's company went public. He became a millionaire overnight. His father called to congratulate him and suggest Jin-woo finally settle down with a nice Korean girl. Jin-woo hung up on him. At 34, Jin-woo booked a one-way ticket to Atlanta, Georgia. He landed on a Tuesday morning in March. Spring was just starting. The weather was perfect. Jin-woo rented a car and drove through Atlanta, amazed by how different it was from Seoul. Wider streets, more space, trees everywhere. He had Cynthia's last known address from a private investigator he'd hired. The investigator found her easily. Cynthia Johnson, 34 years old, unmarried, living in a townhouse in Decatur, working as an art teacher at a local high school. Unmarried. That word had made Jin-woo's heart soar when he read it. Maybe she waited too. Maybe she remembered. Maybe this wasn't crazy. Jin-woo pulled up to the townhouse at 3 in the afternoon. He had rehearsed what he would say a million times. "Hi, I'm the boy who kissed you on Kite Beach 18 years ago. I promised I would wait, and here I am. Do you still want to see if this is real?" But before he could knock on the door, a woman opened it from the inside. She was younger than Cynthia, maybe late 20s, with the same dark skin and bright eyes. She looked at Jin-woo suspiciously. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm looking for Cynthia Johnson," Jin-woo said in his best English. "I'm an old friend from Dubai." The woman's face changed, went from suspicious to sad to something Jin-woo couldn't read. "You're Jin-woo, aren't you?" she said quietly. "Yes. How did you know?" "Because Cynthia talked about you, all the time, even after 18 years. She said you'd come. She said you'd keep your promise." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I'm Keisha, Cynthia's younger sister. You probably don't remember me. Jin-woo did remember, vaguely. A little girl who used to interrupt them on Cynthia's rooftop, who used to ask why Jin-woo talked funny. "Where is Cynthia?" Jin-woo asked. "Is she at work?" Keisha shook her head. "Come with me. There's something you need to know." They drove to Grady Memorial Hospital in downtown Atlanta. Keisha didn't talk much in the car, just kept wiping her eyes. Jin-woo's stomach twisted with every mile. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. 6 months ago, Keisha said as they walked through the hospital corridors, Cynthia was driving home from work. It was raining. Some drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. Head-on collision. The other driver died instantly. Cynthia should have died too, but she didn't. She's been in a coma ever since. Jin-woo stopped walking. His legs wouldn't work anymore. "The doctors say she can hear us," Keisha continued. "They say we should talk to her, read to her, play music, anything to stimulate her brain. Mom comes every morning. Dad comes every evening. I come whenever I can. We take turns. We tell her about our days. We tell her she needs to wake up." She paused outside a hospital room door. "And we tell her that if she wakes up, maybe you'll still come. Maybe you'll still keep your promise." Jin-woo couldn't breathe. 18 years. He had waited 18 years. And this was what he came back to. "She's in there," Keisha said, opening the door. "I'll give you some time alone." That was 3 days ago. Since then, Jin-woo had been at Cynthia's bedside every single day, from sunrise to sunset. He read to her. Korean stories, English stories, stories about Dubai. He played Rain's songs, the ones they used to listen to on Kite Beach. He told her about his companies, his failures, his successes. He told her about the bracelet he never gave her 18 years ago. And every night Keisha drove him back to the hotel he was staying at. On the 4th night, as they sat in her car outside the Marriott, Keisha finally spoke about what had been hanging in the air between them. "You really waited," she said. 18 years. You really waited. I promised I would. Most people don't keep promises like that. I'm not most people, and Cynthia isn't most people either." Keisha was quiet for a long moment. "Jin-woo, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been trying to say for 3 days. What is it? I come to the hospital every day too, for the past 6 months. I sit with my sister. I talk to her. I hold her hand. I tell her about my life, my boyfriend, my job. And you know what I realized? Somewhere along the way, I started coming for a different reason." Jin-woo turned to look at her. 3 months ago, Keisha continued, her voice shaking, "my boyfriend broke up with me. I was devastated. I spent every night at the hospital crying to Cynthia about it. And then one day I wasn't crying about my boyfriend anymore. I was crying because I was jealous of my sister. Because even in a coma, even when she can't talk or move or live her life, she has something I'll never have. She has someone who waited 18 years for her. Someone who crossed the world to keep a promise. Someone who looks at her like she's the only person who matters." Keisha wiped her eyes. "I know it's wrong. I know it's messed up. But I can't help it. I've fallen in love with the idea of you. With the kind of love you and Cynthia have. And I hate myself for it." Jin-woo didn't know what to say. "I'm not asking you to love me back," Keisha said quickly. "I just needed to tell someone. Because every day I sit in that hospital room, watching you read to my sister, and I think about what I would give to have someone love me like that. And then I feel guilty because I should be rooting for Cynthia to wake up. But if she wakes up, you'll be hers, and I'll lose this fantasy I've built in my head." "Keisha," Jin-woo said gently, "you're 28 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Someone will love you like this. But that person isn't me. It can't be me." "I know." Keisha laughed bitterly. "I know. I just needed to say it out, loud, to admit that I'm a terrible person for feeling this way. You're not a terrible person. You're human, and you're lonely." But this isn't the answer. Keisha nodded. I won't say anything to Cynthia. When she wakes up, if she wakes up, I'll pretend this conversation never happened. I'll be the supportive sister. I'll be happy for you both. Thank you. But Jin-woo, can I ask you something? Anything. What if she doesn't wake up? What if you've waited 18 years just to sit beside someone who can never love you back? Then I'll keep sitting here, Jin-woo said simply. Because a promise is a promise, and love isn't about what you get back. It's about what you're willing to give. That night, Jin-woo lay in his hotel room, staring at the ceiling. Keisha's words haunted him. What if Cynthia never woke up? What if this was it? 18 years of waiting for a reunion that would never come. No, he couldn't think like that. He had to believe, had to have faith. Cynthia was strong, she would come back. But doubt crept in anyway, in the dark, in the silence, in the space between heartbeats. On the 5th day, Jin-woo brought something new to the hospital, a recording of the ocean. He had gone to the nearest beach, about an hour outside Atlanta, and recorded the sound of waves crashing on the shore. It wasn't the Persian Gulf. It wasn't Kite Beach, but it was close enough. I thought maybe this would help, he said to Cynthia's motionless body. Remember when we used to sit on the beach in Dubai? You said the ocean was the only thing that made sense in the world. Everything else was complicated, but the ocean just was. It didn't apologize. It didn't explain. It just existed. He pressed play on his phone. The sound of waves filled the hospital room. I wish I could take you to the ocean now, Jin-woo continued. I wish I could carry you out of this bed and drive to the coast and let you feel the sand between your toes. I wish I could do anything except sit here and talk to someone who can't answer back. His voice broke. He had been strong for 5 days, but the weight of 18 years was catching up to him. I kept my promise, Cynthia. I'm here. I'm 34 years old, just like you said. I waited. I became someone. I built companies. I helped people. I did everything I could to be worthy of you. And now I'm here and you're here, but we're not really together, are we? He put his head in his hands. The ocean sounds kept playing, so you need to wake up. You need to come back. Because I didn't wait 18 years just to lose you like this. I didn't cross the world just to watch you sleep. I need you to fight, Cynthia. Fight like you fought when we were 16 and you refused to let my father scare you. Fight like you fought when you made me promise to wait. Fight, because this story isn't over yet. The machines beeped. The ventilator hissed. But Cynthia didn't move. Jin-woo wiped his eyes and pulled out a book, Pride and Prejudice. Keisha had told him it was Cynthia's favorite. He opened to the first page and started reading aloud. It is a truth, universally acknowledged, that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. He read for 3 hours straight. By the time he finished the first 5 chapters, his throat was raw. But he kept going. Because maybe somewhere in the darkness of her unconscious mind, Cynthia could hear him. Maybe she was listening. Maybe she was trying to come back. On the 6th day, Cynthia's parents arrived while Jin-woo was reading. He hadn't met them yet. Keisha had kept them apart, saying they needed time to process everything. Mr. Johnson was tall and broad-shouldered, his hair going gray at the temples. Mrs. Johnson was small and elegant, her eyes the same shape as Cynthia's. They both stared at Jin-woo like he was a ghost. "You're the boy from Dubai," Mr. Johnson said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir." Jin-woo stood up and bowed slightly, a Korean habit he couldn't break. "My name is Jin-woo Park. I know who you are." Mr. Johnson's voice was cold. "Cynthia talked about you for 18 years. Even when I told her to forget you, even when I said you'd never come back, she believed in you. I'm sorry it took so long. Are you? Because my daughter has been lying in this bed for 6 months and you show up now. Where were you when she was in the accident? Where were you when the doctors said she might never wake up? Where were you when her mother and I took turns sleeping in this chair, begging God to bring our baby back? I didn't know, Jin-woo said quietly. If I had known, I would have come sooner. But you didn't know, because you weren't part of her life. You were just a promise, just a fantasy. And now you're here expecting what? For her to magically wake up because Prince Charming finally showed up? Mr. Johnson, Jin-woo's voice stayed calm, even though his heart was breaking. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just keeping my promise. I told Cynthia I would wait 18 years, and I did. I told her I would come back, and I'm here. What happens next isn't up to me. It's up to her, but I'm not leaving. Not until she wakes up, and not after that either, if she'll have me. Mrs. Johnson had been quiet this whole time. Now she stepped forward and put a hand on her husband's arm. David, she said softly, let him stay. Cynthia would want him here. How do you know what Cynthia wants? Mr. Johnson's voice cracked. Our daughter is in a coma. She can't want anything. She wanted him. For 18 years, that's all she wanted. To see if he'd keep his promise. Mrs. Johnson looked at Jin-woo. And he did. So let him stay. Let him try. What do we have to lose? Mr. Johnson's shoulders sagged. He suddenly looked older than his years. Fine. Stay. Talk to her. Read to her. Do whatever you think will help. But if she wakes up and doesn't want you anymore, you walk away. You don't cause her more pain. Deal? Deal, Jin-woo said. From that day on, the hospital room became crowded. Mrs. Johnson came in the mornings. Jin-woo stayed all afternoon. Mr. Johnson came in the evenings. Keisha came whenever she could, though she avoided being there at the same time as Jin-woo. The guilt was eating her alive, and Jin-woo could see it. On the 10th day, something changed. Jin-woo was reading a Korean folk tale about a man who waited for his love to return from the land of the dead. He was so focused on the book that he almost missed it. A flutter, the smallest movement of Cynthia's left hand. Jin-woo's heart stopped. He looked at her hand, waiting, praying. Nothing happened. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe he wanted it so badly that his brain made it up. But then it happened again. Her fingers twitched, just barely. But it was movement. It was something. "Nurse!" Jin-woo called out. His voice shook. "Nurse, come quick!" The nurse rushed in, followed by a doctor. They examined Cynthia, shining lights in her eyes, checking her reflexes. Jin-woo stood back, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might break through his ribs. "It's a good sign," the doctor said finally. "Her brain activity has been increasing over the past week. We've been monitoring it. This movement suggests she might be starting to emerge from the coma." "When?" Jin-woo asked. "When will she wake up? There's no way to know. It could be days, could be weeks, could be longer. But this is progress. Keep talking to her. Keep reading. Whatever you're doing, it's working." After the doctor left, Jin-woo sat back down and took Cynthia's hand. The hand that had just moved. The hand that proved she was still in there, fighting to come back. "I knew you wouldn't give up," he whispered. "I knew you were listening." Over the next week, Cynthia's movements became more frequent. A finger twitch here, a slight turn of her head there. Her eyelids would flutter sometimes like she was dreaming. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. The family was hopeful. Jin-woo was terrified. Because what if she woke up and didn't remember him? What if 18 years had erased what they had? What if she woke up and told him to leave? On day 17, Keisha pulled Jin-woo aside after he finished his afternoon reading session. "I need to tell you something," she said. Her face was pale. "What's wrong?" I lied. "About when Cynthia's movement started." "What do you mean?" "Jin-woo, Cynthia started moving 3 weeks ago. Small things, finger twitches, eye movements. The doctors noticed it. We all did." 3 weeks? Jin-woo felt the ground shift beneath him. "But I've only been here for 17 days. "Exactly." Keisha's voice dropped to a whisper. "Jin-woo, I think Cynthia has been awake for 3 weeks. I think she's been conscious this whole time. But she's choosing not to open her eyes. That's impossible. Why would she do that? I don't know. But yesterday, when Mom was sitting with her, she squeezed Mom's hand 3 times. That's our family signal. It means I love you. Cynthia knows that. She's in there. She's aware, but she won't open her eyes. Jin-woo's mind raced. Did you tell the doctors? No. Because I wanted to tell you first. Keisha looked at him with tears in her eyes. Jin-woo, what if she heard me? That night I told you I had feelings for you. What if she was already awake? What if she heard everything and now she doesn't know what to do? Oh my God. Jin-woo sat down heavily. If Cynthia heard that conversation, if she knew her younger sister had feelings for him, then Cynthia was trapped. Trapped between claiming her own happiness and protecting her sister. Trapped in her own body, conscious but unable to reconcile the impossible situation. I'm going in there, Jin-woo said, standing up. I'm going to tell her the truth. I'm going to tell her that nothing happened between us, that I'm here for her, that she needs to stop protecting everyone else and wake up. What if I'm wrong? Keisha grabbed his arm. What if she really is still in a coma, and I'm just seeing things that aren't there? Then nothing changes. But if you're right, then Cynthia needs to know that it's okay to wake up. Jin-woo walked back into the hospital room. He sat down next to Cynthia's bed and took her hand. Cynthia, he said clearly. I know you can hear me. Keisha told me. About the hand squeezes, about the movements that started 3 weeks ago. I know you're in there. I know you're awake. The machines beeped steadily. Cynthia's chest rose and fell with the ventilator. If you're worried about Keisha, don't be. She's your sister. She loves you. Yes, she told me she had feelings for me. But that's all they are. Feelings, not love, not like what we have. She's lonely and confused and she's projecting, but she's not in love with me. She's in love with the idea of being loved the way I love you. Jin-woo squeezed Cynthia's hand. So please stop protecting everyone. Stop sacrificing yourself. Wake up. Open your eyes. Come back to me. Because I didn't wait 18 years to lose you to your own kindness. For a long moment, nothing happened. Jin-woo closed his eyes, fighting back tears. Then he felt it. A squeeze, deliberate, strong, 3 times. I love you. Jin-woo's eyes flew open. Cynthia's hand was gripping his now, not just twitching, but holding on. His breath caught in his throat. Cynthia, please, open your eyes, let me see you. Slowly, painfully slowly, Cynthia's eyelids began to flutter. Jin-woo watched, hardly daring to breathe. Her eyes opened just a crack, then closed again, like the light was too bright. He quickly reached over and dimmed the hospital lights. Try again, he whispered. I'm here. I'm right here. This time, when Cynthia's eyes opened, they stayed open. Dark brown eyes that Jin-woo had dreamed about for 18 years. Eyes that were looking directly at him, and they were filled with tears. You came, she whispered. Her voice was rough from weeks of not being used, barely audible. You actually came. I promised I would. Jin-woo was crying now too, not even trying to hide it. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I wasn't here when you needed me. Cynthia tried to speak but started coughing. Jin-woo pressed the call button for the nurse, but he didn't let go of her hand. Nurses and doctors rushed in, checking vitals, adjusting machines, asking Cynthia questions to assess her cognitive function. Jin-woo stepped back to give them room, but Cynthia's hand reached for him, panicked. Don't leave, she croaked out. Please don't leave. I'm not going anywhere, Jin-woo said, moving back to her side. I'm never leaving again. The medical team worked efficiently, removing the ventilator tube since Cynthia was breathing on her own now. They brought water, checked her reflexes, shined lights in her eyes. Through it all, Cynthia's gaze kept finding Jin-woo, like she was making sure he was still there. "How long?" she asked the doctor once she could speak more clearly. "How long was I out?" "6 months," the doctor said gently. "You were in a car accident in September. It's March now. 6 months." Cynthia closed her eyes. "And Keisha, my parents, they're all fine. They've been here every day." The doctor smiled. "And so has this gentleman, for the past 17 days straight." Cynthia looked at Jin-woo. 17 days, but you came from Korea." "I came from Korea. I came the moment I turned 34. Just like I promised 18 years ago." Fresh tears spilled down Cynthia's cheeks. "I thought maybe I dreamed you. Lying here, hearing your voice, feeling you hold my hand. I thought maybe I was making it up. That my brain was protecting me from the truth, that you never came." "I came," Jin-woo said firmly, "and I'm staying." The doctors finished their examination and said they'd give the family some time. Mrs. Johnson had been called and was rushing to the hospital. Mr. Johnson was leaving work early. Keisha was already in the waiting room, terrified of what she might face. "Jin-woo," Cynthia said once they were alone, "how much did you hear? When you were sitting here reading to me?" "Everything," he admitted. "I told you everything, about my life in Korea, about the companies I built, about why I waited. Everything." Cynthia's face crumpled. "Then you know, about Keisha." Jin-woo nodded slowly. "I know she told me how she felt. But Cynthia, you need to understand something. I came here for you, only you. What Keisha feels is her own journey to figure out. But it doesn't change anything about us, doesn't it?" Cynthia's voice broke. "Jin-woo, she's my baby sister. I heard her crying in this room for 3 weeks. I heard her confess that she's falling for you. I heard her say she feels guilty for hoping I wouldn't wake up. How am I supposed to just wake up and take you from her? You're not taking me from anyone. I was never hers to lose." Jin-woo sat on the edge of the hospital bed, careful not to disturb any tubes or wires. "Cynthia, why did you pretend to still be in a coma? For 3 weeks you were conscious. Why didn't you wake up?" "Because I didn't know what to do." Cynthia wiped her eyes with her free hand. "I heard everything, Jin-woo. I heard you reading to me. I heard my parents crying. I heard Keisha falling apart. And I realized that everyone's lives had continued without me. You built an empire. Keisha grew up. My parents got older. The world kept turning while I was frozen in time. So you stayed frozen. I stayed frozen because I was scared. Scared that if I woke up, nothing would be the same. Scared that you would look at me and see a broken woman instead of the girl from Dubai. Scared that Keisha would hate me for taking away her fantasy. Scared that I'd been in a coma so long that the Cynthia you remember doesn't exist anymore." Jin-woo took both her hands now. "Do you want to know what I see when I look at you?" Cynthia nodded, unable to speak. "I see the girl who taught a lonely Korean boy how to be brave. I see the woman who made me promise to wait because she believed some things are worth waiting for. I see someone who, even in a coma, was still protecting the people she loves. That's who you are, Cynthia. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. That doesn't change. But Keisha will understand. Eventually," Jin-woo said firmly. "She's young, she's hurt. But she's not in love with me, Cynthia. She's in love with the idea of being loved, and one day someone will love her the way I love you. But that person isn't me." The door burst open and Mrs. Johnson ran in, followed closely by Mr. Johnson. When they saw Cynthia awake, alert, talking, Mrs. Johnson collapsed next to the bed, sobbing. Mr. Johnson stood frozen in the doorway, his hand over his mouth. "My baby," Mrs. Johnson kept saying over and over. "My baby girl, you came back." "Hi, Mama," Cynthia whispered, crying now too. "I'm sorry I took so long." Mr. Johnson finally moved, coming to the other side of the bed. He took Cynthia's hand and kissed it. Don't you ever scare us like that again, you hear me? Ever. I'll try not to, Daddy. Jin-woo stood up to give the family space, but Cynthia's grip on his hand tightened. Stay, she said. Please stay. So he stayed. He stood beside the bed while Cynthia's parents asked her questions, told her how much they loved her, cried and laughed and thanked God. And through it all, Cynthia held onto Jin-woo's hand, like an anchor. After about 30 minutes, Keisha appeared in the doorway. She looked terrified. Her eyes went from Cynthia's face to Jin-woo's hand in Cynthia's, and something in her expression broke. You're awake, Keisha said softly. I'm awake, Cynthia confirmed. Come here, Keisha. Keisha approached slowly, like she was walking toward her own execution. When she reached the bed, Cynthia let go of Jin-woo's hand and reached for her sister. I heard you, Cynthia said quietly, so only Keisha could hear. I heard everything you said. And I'm not mad. Keisha's face crumpled. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry for having feelings. Be sorry for thinking I'd love you any less because of them. Cynthia pulled her sister into an awkward hug, given all the medical equipment. You're my sister, Keisha. Nothing changes that. Not a boy, not feelings, nothing. But I said terrible things. I thought terrible things. You thought human things. Cynthia pulled back to look at her sister. Keisha, you spent 6 months watching someone show the kind of love most people only dream about. Of course you wanted that for yourself. Of course you got confused. But that doesn't make you a terrible person. It makes you a person in pain who needs to heal. How do I heal from this? Keisha whispered. Time. Therapy. Maybe dating someone who isn't your sister's soulmate. Cynthia tried to smile. We'll figure it out together. But first, you need to forgive yourself. Can you do that? Keisha nodded, tears streaming down her face. I love you. I'm so glad you're awake. I love you too, little sister. The family stayed for another hour before the doctors kicked everyone out, saying Cynthia needed rest. Physical therapy would start tomorrow. There would be tests, evaluations, a long recovery process. But she was awake. She was talking. She was going to be okay. Jin-woo was the last to leave. He stood by the door, not wanting to go, but knowing he should. Where are you staying? Cynthia asked. A hotel near here. The Marriott. Come back tomorrow. Every day, until you tell me to stop. I'll never tell you to stop, Cynthia said. 18 years, Jin-woo. We have a lot of catching up to do. We have the rest of our lives. Is that a promise? That's a promise. Jin-woo left the hospital that night feeling lighter than he had in weeks. Cynthia was awake. She remembered him. She wanted him to stay. Everything he had dreamed about for 18 years was finally coming true. Over the next month, Cynthia's recovery was remarkable. She learned to walk again through intensive physical therapy. Her speech returned to normal. Her memory was intact. The doctors called it miraculous. Jin-woo called it Cynthia being Cynthia, too stubborn to let a car accident define her. Jin-woo was there for all of it. Every physical therapy session, every doctor's appointment, every small victory. He read to her when she was tired, made her laugh when she was frustrated, held her hand when she cried because recovery was harder than anyone expected. Keisha came around too. Slowly, she started therapy to work through her guilt and confusion. She apologized to Jin-woo properly, and he told her there was nothing to apologize for. She started dating someone from her job, a guy who made her laugh and didn't carry the weight of 18 years of waiting. She was healing. 2 months after Cynthia woke up, Jin-woo proposed. Not in a fancy restaurant or on a beach or anywhere Instagram-worthy. He proposed in the hospital parking lot because Cynthia had just been officially discharged, and he couldn't wait another second. Marry me, he said, pulling out the bracelet he'd bought 18 years ago in Dubai. It wasn't a ring. but it was the promise he'd carried for half his life. Marry me and let's stop waiting. Let's start living. Yes, Cynthia laughed, crying at the same time. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. They got married 3 months later in a small ceremony in Atlanta. Mr. Johnson walked Cynthia down the aisle, tears streaming down his face. Mrs. Johnson sobbed in the front row. Keisha was the maid of honor, and she gave a speech about how love sometimes means letting go of what you want so others can have what they need. Jin-woo's parents didn't come. He didn't expect them to, but he sent them photos anyway, hoping that maybe one day they'd understand that some things matter more than tradition. If you've made it this far, you've just witnessed one of the most powerful love stories ever told. Hit that subscribe button right now because you need more stories like this in your life. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and whether you believe in promises that last 18 years. And smash that like button if you believe real love is worth fighting for, worth waiting for, worth everything. After the wedding, Jin-woo and Cynthia moved back to Seoul. It was a compromise. Cynthia had always wanted to see Korea, and Jin-woo had businesses there that needed him. They bought an apartment in Itaewon, the International District, where Cynthia wouldn't feel so foreign, where she could find community with other expats and foreigners trying to make lives in a country that wasn't always welcoming. Cynthia got a job teaching art at Seoul Foreign School. Jin-woo continued building his company, but now his focus shifted. He started programs to help interracial couples navigate Korean society. He funded cultural exchange initiatives. He used his platform to talk about the racism he'd witnessed, the barriers his own relationship had faced. Some people in Korea criticized him, called him a traitor to his culture, said he was trying to destroy Korean values. But more people thanked him, sent him messages about their own forbidden relationships, their own families who didn't understand, their own struggles to love across cultural lines. 3 years after they got married, Cynthia gave birth to a daughter. They named her Zara. She had Jin-woo's dark hair and Cynthia's bright eyes. She was perfect. Jin-woo's mother showed up at the hospital the day Zara was born. She didn't call ahead. She just appeared, standing in the doorway with a gift bag full of baby clothes. "Can I see her?" she asked in Korean. "Please?" Cynthia looked at Jin-woo. He nodded. It was her choice. "Come in," Cynthia said in careful Korean. She'd been learning. It was hard, but she was trying. Jin-woo's mother approached the bed slowly. When she saw baby Zara, her face transformed. All the hardness melted away. "She's beautiful," his mother whispered. "She looks like you did, Jin-woo, when you were born." Jin-woo didn't know what to say. His mother had cut him out of her life 3 years ago, and now she was here, crying over her granddaughter. "I was wrong," his mother said finally, looking at Cynthia. "About you, about this, about what matters." She switched to broken English. Sorry. Very sorry." Cynthia's eyes filled with tears. "It's okay. We all make mistakes. I want to know her." Jin-woo's mother gestured to Zara. "Your daughter. My granddaughter. Can I?" "Yes," Jin-woo said, his voice thick with emotion. "Yes, you can." It wasn't perfect. Jin-woo's father still refused to acknowledge Cynthia. Some days were harder than others. Korea could be beautiful and brutal in the same breath. But Jin-woo and Cynthia built a life anyway. A good life. A real life. On their 5th wedding anniversary, they went back to Dubai. They walked through the gold souk where Jin-woo had bought the bracelet Cynthia now wore every day. They took a bus past their old school. They drove to Kite Beach and sat on the sand watching the sunset. "Do you ever regret it?" Jin-woo asked. "Waiting 18 years. Going through everything we went through." Cynthia leaned her head on his shoulder. "Never. Not for a second. Even the coma. Especially the coma," she laughed. "Because it proved something. It proved that some promises are worth keeping. Some love is worth fighting for. And some people are worth waiting 18 years for. I'd wait 18 more if I had to." Good thing you don't have to. Cynthia kissed him. We're here now, together. That's all that matters. They sat on Kite Beach until the sun disappeared below the Persian Gulf. The same beach where they'd first kissed 19 years ago. The same beach where Jin-woo had made a promise he thought might kill him to keep. But he'd kept it, and it hadn't killed him. It had saved him. Saved them both. Because sometimes love isn't about the easy choice. Sometimes it's about the hard one. The one that takes 18 years. The one that requires you to wait when everything in you wants to run. The one that asks you to believe, even when belief seems impossible. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that love waits for you too. Jin-woo Park and Cynthia Johnson proved that 18 years apart couldn't break what two 16-year-olds built on a beach in Dubai. They proved that some promises matter more than tradition, more than family approval, more than cultural expectations. They proved that love, real love, is worth every single second of waiting. If this story moved you, if it made you believe in love again, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone who's waiting for their own promise to come true. Share it with someone who's given up on love and needs to remember why it matters. Because stories like this, stories about promises kept and love that endures, these are the stories that remind us what it means to be human, what it means to hope, what it means to believe that some things are worth fighting for, no matter how long the fight takes. Jin-woo and Cynthia's story didn't end with a coma or a wedding or a baby. It ended with a choice. The same choice we all have to make every single day. The choice to keep loving even when it's hard. The choice to keep believing even when it's easier to give up. The choice to keep waiting even when everyone tells you to move on. They chose love, 18 years apart. And they'd choose it again, every single time. Thank you for watching this story all the way to the end. Your time matters, and you spent it here with Jin-woo and Cynthia. That means something. So please, before you go, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me what part of this story hit you the hardest. And give this video a like if you believe in the power of promises kept. Because 18 years apart couldn't break them. And nothing ever will.